There's two main ways to approach subtracting mixed numbers. You could do what's called borrowing. So let's look at borrowing. If I have 5 minus 3/7, first thing I need to do is realize 5 does not have a fraction. So one way to help us do that is to write them vertically. So I line up the whole numbers, and then I line up the fractions. In this case, there's just 5 on one side, 3/7 on the other. So I'm going to take the 5 and borrow from it, just like we would with whole numbers. So borrowing from the 5 will make it a 4. And then I'm going to add a 1 to the other side, or the place value behind it. But this is fraction land on this right side, so I can't add the whole number 1. How do we write whole numbers using fractions? Well, we use the same numerator and same denominator. So instead of 1 on the other side, I'm going to use 7/7. Because 7 was the denominator already there, and if I put 7/7, well, that equals 1. And I took 1 away from 5, so that's where we come up with 7/7. Now I can subtract them because there's a fraction minus a fraction. So that'll give me 7 minus 3, which is 4. So we have 4 and 4/7. Let's look at borrowing with mixed numbers, and then we'll look at a different method. So if I have, I'm just going to write these vertically, 6 and 3/8 minus 2 and, let's say, a half. So first thing, I need to get them to have the same denominator. This is going to be multiplied by 4 because 2 goes into 8 4 times. So I can rewrite this as 6 and 3/8 minus 2 and 4/8. So I know I need to borrow because the numerators, the top numerator is smaller than the bottom one. 3 is less than 4, so I have to borrow. I'm going to borrow from the 6, make that a 5, and then I'm going to add 8/8 because 8/8 is 1. I borrowed 1 whole. I'm going to add 8/8 to what's already there, the 3/8. So this will become 5 and 11/8 minus 2 and 4/8. So we rewrite that as 3 and 7/8. So borrowing is one way to approach these. The other way is to use improper fractions. So if I have 2.5 minus 4/5, first thing I need to do is get them both to be fractions. Well, 4/5 is already a fraction, so I can take the 2.5, multiply and add, and get 3/2. So the denominator stays the same. Sorry, that should be 5/2. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And then over here, minus 4/5. Next, I'll have to get the denominators the same. So this becomes 25/10 and 8/10. So that is 17/10. Numerator is too big, so we need to make it a mixed number again, 1 and 7/10. Last version of this, we might have 4 and 4/3, oops, let's change it to 4/5, minus 3. Well, here, if I had written it vertically, we could see there's nothing on the fraction side. So I could just subtract the whole numbers and bring down the fraction. And this becomes 1 and 4/5.